We live in an era of overconsumption. We don't touch enough grass. We're all in survival mode because everything is getting more expensive while wages stay the same. The ratio of grind to return is absolutely shot. The culture that unregulated capitalism has bred is killing our creativity and what's beautiful about life. So it's okay if you do not feel okay. And it's especially okay if you do not feel like you've been connected to your creative energy and flow. In today's episode of the Spiraling Upwards podcast, in honor of the fact that you are here and that you are still pushing forward despite all the horrors, we're going to have a chat today to talk about how we can nurture and connect to our creativity, what we need to cut out, and what practices we need to add. It is so important, especially during unprecedented times, to continue to create, to continue to express ourselves. When the world is uncertain, there's no better time to say, fuck it. I don't care what anyone thinks. I have nothing to lose. I'm going to do what makes me happy. I'm going to create art. I am going to put myself out there and just make the most out of this life because we only get one. This allows us to stay energized and hopeful, which causes a ripple effect for improving our collective well-being. First, let's talk about creativity killers. In my personal quest to reconnect with my creativity, I came to find that about 80% of reconnecting with our creativity is just cutting out the things that are inhibiting it. For me, and probably most of you all too, that was social media. It's addictive, it eats away at our time, and also always seeing what everyone else is doing and having that constant comparison to other people, whether we realize it or not, disconnects us from our own authenticity and our own truth. About 2 weeks ago, I had enough of my own bullshit and I decided to delete TikTok, Instagram, and Snapchat. I always hesitated deleting social media because Heike had really big FOMO. I was worried that I was going to miss something. And especially with everything going on in our world right now, I like to stay up to date and conscious of what's happening and not try to turn a blind eye or be oblivious to it. But it got to a point where the downsides of keeping social media were outweighing any of the potential benefits. Deleting social media in 2025 honestly feels like escaping the Matrix. It is so freaking weird, and it allows you the space to actually sit with yourself and hear your own thoughts and be more conscious of your time and the way you're utilizing it. It's honestly been a 10 out of 10 experience for me. I don't miss it at all. I noticed myself the first few days instinctively opening up my phone and going to click on the spots where my Snapchat was or where my Instagram or TikTok was, and then being like, oh, they're not there. What the fuck do I do right now? And in some moments, I would just put my phone down and sit with myself. And those moments are really nice and very peaceful once you get over that initial, this feels weird, this is uncomfortable, I don't like myself enough to be in my own presence. We've got to get over that. Which leads us into our second creativity killer, which is self-doubt. If Leonardo da Vinci had the idea to paint the Mona Lisa, but told himself that it was weird or too basic or lame, and he didn't do it, we wouldn't have the Mona Lisa, which, by the way, is estimated to be over $1 billion now. Charlie XC almost didn't put the song Apple in Brat because she had doubts that it fit the overall vibe of the album. But she still put it on there anyway. And it ended up being one of the biggest hits off of Brat. If she would have listened to those doubts, we wouldn't have Apple. When we choose to listen to confident and empowering thoughts over self-doubting thoughts, when we know who we are and are doing things because we enjoy them and because we want to and we are confident in that thing, instead of for other people's validation, creativity flows. Or if you can't seem to get yourself to a place where you feel confident, making the conscious decision to do that thing anyway, to do it scared, and do it even if you have doubts. Don't ignore your intuition on something. There's a difference between self-doubt and an intuitive knowing that something's not for you. But recognizing that your fears and your self-doubt don't define you, and they don't have to hold you back. So throughout me yapping about creativity killers, I'm sure it immediately popped into your head what your specific creativity killers are for you. If not, what habits and activities are holding you back? What isn't serving you that you're doing on a daily basis? And how can you limit them or cut them out? Cutting these things out will clear the space in your mind and clear your time to where you can not only focus on what you want and the things that you want to accomplish, but help you to feel more free and feel more joy while you're doing it. So you've cut out the things that are holding you back, or at least recognize them and are actively working towards cutting them out. What next? Your recipe for creativity has 3 main ingredients: trust, stillness, and play. First, let's talk about trust. And whenever I say trust, I mainly mean trust in yourself. Trust that your ideas and your work is worth creating. It's worth putting out there. If self-doubt was a vampire, self-trust would be the garlic. If you carry self-trust around in your pocket, it's like a shield from internalizing self-doubting thoughts. You'll still probably get them at first because we're creatures of habit and our thoughts are very habitual. But what matters is where that thought takes us. Do we let it lead us into a downward spiral, or do we sweep it away, move forward, and spiral upwards? So how do we build our self-trust? We can build up self-trust by nurturing our relationship with and following through on the promises that we make to ourselves. For example, I promised myself that I would get home from work and film. When I got home from work, I didn't feel like it. I wasn't in the mood. But I made that promise to myself. And I know that filming this video is something that I'll be proud of myself for and feel good about once I'm done. Following through on the promises that we make to ourselves is life-changing if you're used to doing the opposite. It'll boost your confidence, make you proud of yourself, and prove to yourself that you can rely on you to show up and pick yourself up and accomplish your goals. When you trust yourself and when you have a good relationship with yourself, your creativity is going to skyrocket. Because creativity and self-love are interconnected. When we love ourselves, we stop needing other people's validation to exist, to do the things that we want, to start something, or to take action. It truly unlocks a new level of creative freedom. The second ingredient in our recipe for creativity is stillness. And this is where cutting out social media or limiting your distractions really plays a big role. It allows you to be present with yourself so you can truly hear your inner wisdom and truth. Because we have all the ideas and answers within us. Most of the time, we just don't take the time to stop and listen and intentionally be present. One thing that I used to do that I think is probably pretty common for some people, which inadvertently helped me to avoid being still and present with myself, was constantly making sure that I was busy. In all honesty, I didn't know what to do with myself if I wasn't running all over the place, rushing from here to there. It is a lot easier to embrace stillness and to spend time with yourself when you trust yourself. Practicing stillness is really uncomfy at first. We aren't used to it, whether that's because of social media and constantly consuming and being flooded with what's going on in the world, or if it's by being avoidant and staying busy all the time. But if you don't spend time with yourself, you don't know yourself, and you don't create the space that you need to let your ideas and inspiration flow. Our last but not least ingredient for our recipe for creativity is play. By play, I mean more things into your daily life that just bring you joy. Things that you want to do just for the sake of enjoyment. Not to bring out a certain outcome, not to make a profit, and not to achieve a certain result. I invite you to practice trying not to take things so seriously. This is one thing that I struggle with heavily, and I am actively working on, because I will get in spaces in my head where I think everything is just serious. All business, grind, be productive, We've got to detach from the very American mindset that things are only worth doing if they are productive or will help you make more money. The girlies need to frolic. They need to have more fun. We need to dance in the rain, blare music, dance alone in our room, and sing Taylor Swift at the top of our lungs in our driver's seat. Curbs be damned, look out. By cutting out distractions in your life that are holding you back and focusing on ways to create trust, stillness, and play in your life, you will inevitably feel more balanced, connected, and confident in your creative flow. If you take anything away from this video, I want you to remember that creativity and your relationship with yourself are intertwined. When you focus on taking care of your well-being and your relationship with yourself, ideas and inspiration can just flow more freely. Creativity comes from a place of love, not being judgmental of ourselves or being hypercritical. All right, divas, that's all I have for today. If you made it this far, thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, drop a little sun emoji in the comments down below if you are ready to let your creativity shine. Take care of yourself.